everyone. My name is Grace Martin, and I am joined here today with Brianna Gonzalez. I'm going to be going over my project. I'm doing project planning. So my project is titled Automating Excellence, AI's Role in Project Planning. I've spent a lot of time researching the project management cycles, and different project planning strategies. My problem is that traditional project management methods in education don't necessarily meet the dynamic needs of today's students, just due to it not being able to apply like the knowledge of real world projects. And even though there's a lot of technology getting integrated into schools, and there is still like an absence of bridging the gap of teaching students how to productively use AI in their project planning. So I'm going to be focusing on an instructional design through Articulate 360, where students will be conducting researching about different project planning methods, and they'll also be applying Merle's principles of instruction. The target audience that I'm going for is going to be university level students, faculty, and staff, but in the beginning of the project, then it's really going to be focused on the students because they're going to be the ones going through this process first. It will also be students that are in a business program. And the challenges that are faced by students, faculty, and staff in university setting project planning is that project management methods are insufficient in addressing the evolving complexities of tasks, collaboration needs, and resource allocation. So to bridge the gap of the project planning skills, then Articulate 360 is going to be used to introduce a module that combines essential project planning skills with the power of AI tools. Students will be proficient in project planning skills. They will have an increased collaboration and communication skills. They will learn how to effectively allocate resources and have technology literacy in AI tools. One of the instructional goals that I have is for the students to effectively participate in project planning. And below are the 4 learning outcomes that students are going to accomplish. They are going to be able to develop skills needed for project planning through the use of AI tools. They are going to understand resource allocation, and they will be using AI to identify and estimate of financial needs within a project. Students will also integrate technology-enhanced AI tools in their projects. They can use apps like Trello. They'll be researching different AI tools that will benefit them in the long run with their projects. And students will be able to establish milestones and targets. They will begin to use AI for risk assessments and adjusting milestones as needed. The goal is for the student to be well-rounded with a set of skills aligned with project planning. And here then I just wrote down that students will be able to describe current knowledge of a project, complete modules on Articulate, create solutions for project planning, budget resources such as time and money, analyze the complete project management cycle, and understand project planning within project management. Students will not need to have any entry-level skills. The prior knowledge is that most students are going to have an understanding of how to go through modules, use technology for learning. Students will be excited about the project. They are going to be eager to learn about it. The attitude of this delivery system will engage students and allow them to be comfortable on the platforms. Students are going to be motivated to learn how to allocate resources, how to properly go through a project management cycle. Students have university level skills, as they're all going to be university level. Students will prefer using online modules and Merle's principles of instruction as their learning preference. And the university is going to be excited to roll out Articulate 360 to business students so that they can eventually roll it out to faculty and staff. And the general group characteristics is that the students are going to be between 18 and 20 years old. They're hoping to roll this out within their first year or two of them being in the business program. The class size is going to be about 15 students, and all of the faculty, staff, and students involved are highly motivated to continue on with this project.
Okay, hi guys. My name is Brianna Gonzalez, and I'm going to be talking about my project plan that I did. I'm going to be going over implementation of technology as an instructional tool. Okay, starting with the problem, like I said, it's implementation of using technology as an instructional tool. Teachers are not completely understanding how to use these digital tools in and outside of the classroom for students. Traditional homework is also not boosting a student's learning experience versus having students use online learning tools to study materials. This module aims to educate instructors in any level, specifically elementary, on how to analyze and implement digital formative instruction to their students and to outline their instruction based on data collected. The instructional design that I'm going to be using is the Dick and Carey's instructional model for this plan. Solution is different forms of digital instruction and tools will be discussed throughout the module. Data collected will also be included in order for educators to use to provide any form of feedback and instructional changes based off students' performance. Target audience is this module will focus on educators that are wanting to implement any sort of digital tools for their students, and it will also focus on educators trying to collect meaningful data through these online tools. Excuse me. The problem context is in order to provide meaningful feedback and to make instructional changes for students, individuals' needs, the instructor needs to be familiar with digital tools that are available, actual to optimal performance. In order for students to prepare for any form of summative assessment, it is important for the instructor to analyze any formative assessments and gather students' data. In 2020, when online learning became our only way of instruction due to the pandemic, online resources and learning tools amplified. And when we eventually moved back into the classroom, it was important that we continued using these forms of online instruction. And then the overall goal for this instruction is for instructors to use these tools to demonstrate a student's learning needs and struggles. Goal clarification and analysis with learning outcomes. Due to the worldwide pandemic of COVID-19, districts all across the country were shut down and forced to move on to online learning, thus changing education as a whole. I go on to say that, although this came as a challenge for most, it was also a way to use online tools and online assessments to individualize instruction for students. Instructors were now able to take any form of data collected and create a more personalized learning experience. Digital assessments also gave more flexibility to the educators. Although data may not have been accurate since the switch to online learning was so quick and sudden, it still provided a way for teachers to analyze data and give them a more accurate representation of where students were. Instructional goal is the overall objective and instructional goal for this module is to give educators a better understanding on how to analyze any form of online assessment and to use data collected to make instructional changes. Goal analysis provide educators with knowledge on how to use any online data collected to help alter instruction and provide students with an individualized instructional plan to meet their academic needs. On the little step-by-step, step one is to provide educators with an overall understanding on how to analyze data. Two, educators will learn and decide on what digital tools to use on the assessments being given. Three, educators will demonstrate how to use their digital tools and also how to analyze the data collected from it. Or based off of the feedback given by the students, the educator will use it to guide any instruction given from the part on. And lastly, educators will continue to use these digital forms of assessments as a measurement for students' growth. Goal. Overall instructional goal for this module is to provide educators on how to analyze data gathered by digital assessments, By doing so, they are able to alter any instruction and provide students with a more individualized learning experience. It also gives them data to look back on and see any growth made throughout the academic year. And then outcomes is intellectual data analysis and data-driven instruction. Learning outcomes, I did 4. First one was that the instructor will provide digital assessments, explanation. They're going to provide it with different forms of online assessments to measure students' prior knowledge or comprehension of a subject being taught. Examples would be teachers will distribute assessments in the beginning, middle of the year, and end of the year to measure students' performance throughout. Second, the instructor will be able to measure data based off of data collected through online assessments. Educators will use any data collected to create a more flexible learning experience for the students. It gives the students a smoother learning experience and provides teacher with a quicker response to students' understanding. Example, by giving students these online assessments throughout the year, the teacher is able to see what areas the students are struggling in and need extra instruction. The third one, the instructor would be able to modify, individualize instruction. Educators will provide students with an individualized academic plan to use based off of any skills or weaker areas, providing a more self-paced learning experience. And example, students could be provided with extra instruction time, tutoring, pull-out services during school based off of areas of struggle. And lastly, the instructor will demonstrate knowledge on how to provide students with these digital assessments. Educators will be able to expand on the digital use in their classrooms and become more comfortable and confident when providing these resources for their students and measure data collected. Educators can branch out and become more knowledgeable on different online platforms to use to measure student data. And that is it.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. And now we can go into the celebrate and elevate portion. And I can start us off. One of the things I really liked about your project is the way that you have everything laid out, especially your goal analysis chart. I think that makes it very easy to understand and see how it's going to go in order. I also, I really like the idea of bringing in digital tools to track like learning and like especially after the pandemic, then a lot of times then students they could have been left behind because there wasn't like enough feedback of what they were able to like actually like hold on to whenever they were learning. So I think that's going to be a really good project to find how to effectively use digital tools when measuring learning.
Yeah, I like the way yours was laid out too. Made me feel better about mine because I was like, okay, it's not that different. Wait, that was, yeah. Can you go back to yours? I'm sorry. Reference it. All I have now in my head is digital assessments after reading that.
So for mine, then it was over the project planning cycle with budgeting and architecture.
Okay. And you said up there lack of exposure too.
I think that's also a lot of times, like, especially whenever bringing in like digital tools in any situation, then it's the exposure that really helps out. And if there's a lack of exposure, then it could be harder for it to get fully across.
Yeah, I like your little. You seemed very knowledgeable when reading yours. I was like, okay.
Thank you.
Love it.
I'm excited to see the like actual like how to use Articulate to bring in the project planning.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. That was very good. So I agree.
To stop the recording.
Okay.